Hey, what's going on everybody, and welcome back to the Whiskey Cove. And on today's episode, we talk a little bit about 7 whiskeys that I'm not going to be buying again anytime soon. Run the video. Alrighty then folks, welcome back to the Whiskey Cove and welcome back to the channel. And on today's episode, we will be looking at 7 whiskeys, I think they're all bourbons actually, no, not all of them, that I will not be buying anytime soon. There might be very specific reasons that I won't be buying them, and I'll talk a little bit about why that is. With that being said, we get so close to November 22nd, where I'm doing the St. Jude Livestream Raffle. You still have an opportunity to get your ticket. All the information is down below in the description. Join us as well, because I'll be pumping out 3 chances to win awesome samples. And we're talking like George T. Stagg, E.H. Taylor Single Barrel, Doc Swinson's 15 years. So we have like 3 pack sample packs that I'll be giving away. You don't need to buy a ticket, just be on the stream and enjoy the live stream of what it will be. With that being said, let's talk a little bit about these 7 bottles, shall we? And in no particular order, and again, I'll describe a little bit about why I won't be buying them again. Let's get into bottle number 1. And that maybe is a bit of a controversial one, that is Henry McKenna 10-year. Henry McKenna has become a bit of a cornerstone of the new whiskey revolution, if you like, in terms of bourbon in the last 5 years or so. This bottle almost epitomizes where we've come from, kind of where we are now. This was like a $30 bottle of whiskey like 2-3 years ago. It is not that anymore. I can't find these for like less than $80 at MSRP. I don't know how that happened, but they just kept going up in price, like day in, day out, it felt like. And for $80, I can get better bottles of whiskey than this. Yes, for 10 years, Bottled and Bond Single Barrel has a lot going for it. But for $80, I think that there's just a lot more variety out there. I'm thinking like Rare Breed by Wild Turkey, for example. I'm thinking John J. Bowman Single Barrels. So I always talk about these as an example of 10 bottles. So you buy 10 of these bottles, 6 are going to be not good, mediocre at best, 2 are going to be good, and then 2 will be outstanding. Those 2 are what this bottle has been known as. They can do really great stuff, but consistency, for whatever reason, just isn't there on this whiskey. I know a lot of people like this bottle, and I do too, but only when I find the good ones. You need to kiss a lot of frogs to find your prince, I guess, in a way. But for $80, I'd rather get 2 Eagle Rares, I guess, for that price instead. And that's why I'm not going to be buying any of these anytime soon. It's just not a bottle that I'm looking for anymore. Maybe I've grown away from it. Next up, and we are going to go with John J. Magnus Cigar Blend. When you thought of John J. Bowman, did I say John J. Bowman? No, let's try that again. And I'm not going to cut this out. Next up is going to be Joseph Magnus Cigar Blend. So when you thought of cigar blended whiskies, your first thought was this bottle of whiskey. It was a little cheaper back then, and there wasn't that many cigar finished, cigar blended whiskeys out there. However, the market has moved on a little bit. You have a lot better additions to the cigar blend market. Heck, Good Times do a cigar finish one for less than $100. I have this local distillery called Sky who do one for about $80, and it is fantastic. Doc Swinson's, although they don't have necessarily a cigar blend one, they do stuff very similar for like $60, $70. I'm not saying that this is a bad bottle of whiskey, but it's not a $200+ bottle of whiskey. I wish it was cheaper. They had the market cornered when everybody had the fanfare attached to them, but now that's slowing down. I'm seeing these bottles more often than I used to. They're not just like going on the shelves and then jumping off them very fast. And for those folks at home who don't know, cigar blended whiskey doesn't taste like cigars. So if you're someone who doesn't like the taste of cigars, you're not going to get that with this bottle of whiskey. This bottle is a little bit more on the creamier, sweeter side, because it's supposed to pair very nicely with a cigar blend, or with a cigar, I should say. So that's where that comes from. But for $200, $200+, it's not a bottle I'm going to be buying anytime soon. There are better, cheaper versions out there for me personally. Next up, we are going with another Heaven Hill bottle. This will be the last one. This is an attack on Heaven Hill. I really like Heaven Hill stuff, and I really like Elijah Craig barrel proof releases. However, this bottle of whiskey I'm not going to be getting anymore is because of this reason, and I'll show you on screen right now. And that is because I have so many of these. There was a time about a year ago where Heaven Hill were releasing 3 a year, which was good. That was okay, I can keep on top of that. But then they started pumping out all these private selections, and I was kind of buying a little bit too many of them. And now I'm just inundated with them. I would say that the private single barrel selections, for me personally, were not as good as the yearly releases. The last one that I bought of these was the C923, just because the reviews are crazy on it. But before then, the last one that I bought, I think, was like the C920. So I've really kind of stopped buying these for that reason. I have too many of them, and sometimes every now and again there'll be a single barrel release of these where other people have tried it, you get a chance to sample it, will knock your socks off. So that's why I'm not chasing the A, the B, the C releases. And heck, you can throw Larceny into this barrel, and you can throw the Bernheim in there as well. I'm just not kind of keeping up with the Joneses anymore. I'm taking my time, being a little bit more selective with these batches. If there's a good one, I'm going to wait it and hear about that, and then I'm going to try to buy it. That's the best way I can think about them. The last Larceny I bought was the C920, which is a very, very good release, and if you can still find that, definitely pick that up. Moving on. This is going to be a controversial one, but there is a method to the madness here, and that is Wild Turkey 101. So if you think of great everyday whiskey that you can pick up a bottle of, taste it, and it kind of hits the mark every time and then goes above. This bottle of whiskey has historically for me hit above this weight constantly, time and time again. It's great in a cocktail, great on ice, great neat, 101 proof. You can do a lot with it. However, I made the mistake of trying something by Wild Turkey that changed my opinion on this, and that was Wild Turkey 101 8 years. So you cannot get this bottle. It is an international exclusive. However, they're bringing this to the United States. It is that good. They're bringing it back to the United States along with internationally, and they are releasing it. I'm hoping that this price on this isn't crazy. I think that the Wild Turkey 101 is probably like 4 to 6 years. So I'm hoping that this is gonna be like $40, $50 bottle of whiskey, hoping. However, every time now that I've had this and I go back to the 101, there's a piece of me that is missing. I can't quite describe it. But when I taste this, and then now that I've tasted this and I go back to this bottle, it's not the same. The 8 years ruined this bottle for me. It just lacks a little bit in substance, it lacks a little bit in character and flavor, because I know what it can be. And it's that really weird kind of back and forth I have in my mind. My mind has fooled my body, if you like. And that's no knock on Wild Turkey 101. It's still a solid bottle of whiskey for like $20, $25. However, I'm not going to be buying that anymore because I'm just going to drink this. This is just that on steroids. This isn't going to be the last Wild Turkey connection that I'll be making. There's another bottle coming up here soon. 3 bottles left. Weller Special Reserve. So I did a review on this bottle on the channel about 18 months or so ago, and I kind of try to defend this bottle a little bit because this price on this bottle gets inflated all the time. It's not really it's a $20 to $25 bottle of whiskey. However, $30, $40, $50, $60. People are putting the prices up just because it's a Weller bottle of whiskey. And that's not this bottle's fault. However, I'm not going to be buying this anymore, just because there's so much better wheated bourbons out there on the market now. Yes, wheated bourbon has been a thing for a little while here, but this kind of 45%, 90 proof, it kind of drinks now, for me personally, like an 80% or 80 proof or 40% ABV. It just feels like there's something missing now because my palate has moved on to like higher proof wheated bourbons, like the Larceny, like the Maker's Mark picks, like the better Weller. So this isn't a bottle that I'm ever going to be getting again. I'm never going to buy Weller Special Reserve, ever. Unless I really need it for something, which is why I've been nursing this bottle. The only Weller Special Reserve that I will be buying is if I can find some of the single barrel ones that they come out with from time and time again. Next up, we have this bottle. This hurts me to say this because I really like High West and I really like a Midwinter Nice Dram. However, since Act 9, last year's was okay. It's been kind of going down and down and down. Quality has been going down, price has been going up. That makes for a bad business model. Last year they made so much of it, it didn't really become allocated anymore. Heck, I was seeing these on allocation lists like a month or two ago for last year's. The price on this is now like $160, $170 in Colorado. And I want to wait, and I have been waiting for the reviews to drop on this, on the Act 12, I believe it is. They haven't been great. So I don't think, I'm not going to be buying it anymore, which is really hard for me to say because this is become a tradition for me in my household that every year I would try to finish a bottle of this, share it with family and friends after food on Christmas Day, we'd have that. But then head rules heart in this case, I would suggest. And until maybe they're able to bring it back and bring it back to some of the standards of yesteryear, I'm just going to be sitting on the sidelines and just not getting it. I'm not willing to pay $160 on this bottle anymore. However, that being said, I will maybe be picking up the Boo Rise. The Boo Rise have, I don't know what it is, they've been able to really figure out the Boo Rise lately, but the Midwinter Night's Dram is going to have to take a little bit of a sit down for a while. And then lastly, going back to Wild Turkey as promised, and I will not be getting any of the Russell's Reserve single rickhouses anytime soon. The price on these has punched through the $300 barrier, a lot of money to be paying on whiskey. Am I saying these are bad whiskeys? No, I've been able to try the first two releases. I obviously have a bottle here, and I've drunk a lot of them. I really like these whiskeys. They are so good. Not 300 good. Why is that? Well, much like the Wild Turkey 101 example, another bottle spoiled it for me from Wild Turkey. So if you watched the live stream when I was down in Kentucky with that bourbon dude Charles, he brought a bottle of whiskey that I didn't really know too much about. It is an international release and it's about $60, $70. I was paid $100 for this bottle because I really wanted it, and that is Wild Turkey Rare Breed, the international travel exclusive. Looks a little bit like that, very similar to the regular Wild Turkey, but has black and bronze labels on the front. Coming in at 58.4%, and they are 1 liter bottle as well. So why I told you a little bit about down in Kentucky, he brought this and we blinded this bottle, we blinded this bottle, we blinded the other single rickhouse that he had. We did the 12-year, we did the 15-year. The 15-year came out on top, but it was a very narrow victory for the 13-year because this came in second. Well, these two single rickhouses, $300 bottles, finished, both of them finished last. So why would I spend this amount of money on these single rickhouses when I can get one of these for sub $100 and it's a 1 liter and it tastes lights out great compared to that one. Again, very happy with these bottles when I was drinking them, but putting it up against something that also comes from the Wild Turkey distillery and is every bit as good and better, it just doesn't really make sense. So not going to be buying those anymore. Definitely going to be looking out for these. Again, travel exclusives. This bottle of whiskey is the best kept secret in bourbon. Make no doubt about it. And I know there will be people in the comments down below that will be telling me to zip up. And I'm sorry, folks, but you know, the masses need to know this is such a great bottle of whiskey. If you can get it for less than $100, you might have to look through some online markets that you trust, or if you are traveling, look in your duty-free and grab yourself a couple of bottles. While you're at it, pick up the old phone, I don't know why I'm doing that, send me an email and pick me up a bottle as well because they are that good. That being said, these are 7 bottles of whiskeys, for whatever reason I won't be getting again. So hopefully you enjoyed today's video. I know it doesn't, the bottles on face value weren't just me ditching them, there were reasons behind that. So hopefully you got some value from that, and do not sleep on that Wild Turkey, that Rare Breed Travel exclusive is such a great bottle of whiskey. As we drink through the world's whiskeys one glass at a time, cheers.